Hello and welcome to episode 3 of OneShot. The three of us in this, one shot at it. Say hello to Sam and Danish, my co-hosts for this show. Guys, congratulations for making it to episode 3.
Yeah, it
And
has
this
been a
is,
struggle.
this is going to be the third episode and the third time we're going to talk about Apple Vision Pro later on this show. So might as well rename the show as well while we're at it.
No, absolutely not.
Anyways,
We'll
recording this.
rename it. We'll rename it Danish Getting the Vision Pro and the discussions about it.
Fair enough. Right, so we're recording this on Wednesday, the 31st of January. Our producer tells us that the episode should be live tomorrow, which is the 1st of February on a Thursday. And that would be the audio version. And hopefully you'll see the video on YouTube shortly, right after that. Excellent. So shall we kind of get into it, gents?
Let's go.
Amazing stuff. So just like every other week, the top story is Vision Pro. And before we kind of get started on this, I waited for this moment to sort of share something with you guys. And I wanted to capture live reactions on the video.
Oh my God. Oh my God, don't do it. Don't.
I'm going to take off my glasses. You guys ready for it?
Ready?
Oh, thank God.
I don't see the video coming through it. What's going on over here? I think
I mean, it's augmented reality. Because we're seeing it through the reflection.
Oh my God. If Abbas had got one, oh my God. Oh, everything went bad so fast. Oh, that was not a fair game to play, Abbas.
Not the Vision Pro or Apple Vision Pro that you just saw.
For people listening who don't understand what's happening. Oh my God.
That wasn't the Vision Pro? Oh, okay.
I could watch the Vision Pro video inside these, so I could pretend they're Vision Pro, but they're not really Vision Pro now. These are the old HTC glasses, which aren't necessarily that great. But hey, you know what? Something they share with Apple Vision Pro, with the battery pack attaches over here. There's no built-in battery inside them.
Yeah.
So, not a new idea on Vision Pro. But anyways, so reviews are out for Vision Pro. We've seen quite a few of them. I checked out Joanna Stern's review at WSJ. I checked out Eli Patel's at The Verge. Those are the two that I've seen.
Right.
Which ones have you seen, Danish? And then we'll go to Sam as well.
I've seen those as well, but I've seen Marquez's unboxing. I've also seen iJustSeen's review and a bit here and there on socials of other people.
Okay, and Sam, have you managed to check out any of the reviews?
I've just seen Marquez's unboxing. Looks nice, like a polished product and everything, but we'll see once more content comes out.
Fair enough. So, I mean, look, almost everything that I've sort of seen and read about the device, it's very much a Gen 1 device. Everyone's kind of saying that, this is exactly what a Gen 1 device is. And yes, it's got legs, it's got potential, but we're not quite there yet. I think that's fair. I think that's a fair criticism. And look, I mean, you look at the iPhone or the Apple Watch, Gen 1 products weren't necessarily the best ones, but then they evolved into what they are today, into great products. Danish, do you want to share some of your thoughts with, the videos that you've seen?
So, I mean, first and foremost, getting to, if we just take it step by step and we just go to the unboxing first, right? As far as Marquez's unboxing was there, I was very surprised by the device itself. If you look at that video when he shows the device itself, he shows the fact that it's much smaller. I expected it to be much bigger first and foremost, right? I thought it was going to be much bigger, but you can see all the metal, you can see all the glass. It doesn't look the way, let's say, the Vive used to or the Oculus does. That was really nice. What I was most surprised by was the dual strap band. I did not know that existed. At all. And that weird travel case, that is just ugly as hell. That was really, really ugly.
You remember the AirPods Max travel case? I mean, Apple's done that, so this is really a step up, I'd say.
These,
Exactly.
this
So
Perths.
I'd put this vision case like sort of like a step up from that for sure.
Yeah, but yeah, it's okay. This battery was I'm very surprised that after being so hefty, it's only 3,000 milliamps. That was super surprising. I don't know the reasoning for it, but I don't know if you saw. I think it was Joanna Stern's video, which had the belt loop from Belkin, which is already made for the battery. So you put it on your, you remember back in the day how you had a loop where you clasped your phone on and off it? Yeah, you've got that for the battery now. So, so yeah, all that stuff pretty cool, very Apple-esque. But when it came to the product itself, I think Joanna Stern's review was, let's say, the most potent because I like that she used it for as long as she did. I like that because she said she put it on for as much as she could during 24 hours. I think her review was the most potent. It gave the most realistic idea of how it would be to use it. And right now, it's a glorified AR experience for your MacBook.
Absolutely. No, agree. Her video was incredible, like normally is. I think Nilay Patel's video was also very in-depth. I liked both of those. I thought both of them did a very good job at, demonstrating the device. Okay, so let's kind of break it down, right? I mean, let's start with the weight of the device. Every reviewer said that it's a heavy device, and you just mentioned that the battery is not built in either. So without the battery, it's heavier than its competitors like the Oculus or HTC or whoever else, and you're carrying the battery separately. And then that loop that just kind of goes on the back, not on the top of your head.
Yeah.
I'm assuming
Solo
that,
loop.
and again, Diff mentioned, solo loop. I think they've all mentioned that it becomes heavy after a while. You feel it on your head, which is where that head strap kind of comes in. That kind of helps prevent the balancing of it a little bit, makes it stay on your head longer without feeling all that fatigue. So I think that's kind of nice. And then you've got all these light seals and, et cetera, all of these other accessories that kind of attach to it magnetically and stuff. So I think from a looks side of things, what do you think?
I think it looks nice. It's not out of this world. Let me say it this way. What you just picked up, the HTC Elite Pro, whatever that was. I would have loved if they jumped to that directly.
Yeah.
But I think they were like, no, let's save that for like Vision Pro 4 or whatever. So I think that's where it looks wise, it's good, but I think it could have been smaller.
No, absolutely. I think, look, like tech, it's gonna, become smaller, lighter, faster, all of that. So it's just a matter of time. They had to jump into the category, which they've officially done now. So, kudos to them for jumping in, and I'm kind of excited to see where it goes, with this. Okay, now coming on to the usability side of things, there are two specific use cases. One is when you've got it connected to the Mac, or where you're using your Mac on there, and the second part is the built-in apps by Vision Pro. Both of them can coexist at the same time, where you're jumping in and out of the two scenarios. And then I'll save the third one for last, but let's talk about these two things. The one thing that I read, or I actually heard John Gruber mention, was that when you're using it on a Mac with Vision apps built in, the problem is that Mac doesn't take the feedback, the click or tap of your thing. So you have to use your trackpad for it. Whereas when you're on the Vision Pro apps, they use the tap gesture and stuff like that. So it's very difficult to keep moving between the two. If if you come back to your Mac, you sort of have to use the trackpad.
From a continuity standpoint.
But if I'm not wrong, Nilay Patel mentioned the fact that when you do connect a Mac, your cursor moves through freely. I hope I didn't get that wrong, but he was saying that the cursor, as soon as you connect a Mac, the cursor moves freely in the space. So I think that, like, basically you mentioned the problem the opposite way, whereby if you're trying to use the finger taps, it does, but the cursor still exists, whereby if you want to switch between the two, because handoff does work.
Absolutely. So the cursor does exist, I think, on Vision Pro apps as well. But I think the fact that you've got all this eye tracking and the tap gesture, that's what showcases the device, really. So you'd want to sort of use that, I would think, kind of like if you've got a touchscreen laptop and you're used to it,
Yep.
then when you go back to a non-touchscreen laptop, it's difficult because you continuously try to talk like, wait a minute, yes, it doesn't work that way. I have to go back to the old method of using
Yeah.
it. So, that was it. And then I think the final thing that everybody has said it's great at is for entertainment content. I think, watching videos and stuff on it, I think that's been universally praised. I think that's probably the best use case scenario for it right now. And then when you put things in perspective, right, $3,500, that's roughly what, 13,000, 14,000 dirhams. You go out and you buy Samsung's latest, greatest 80-inch QLED TV, costs about the same. So you're getting a much bigger canvas than that on there.
It's a tricky one. I think, again, Danish knows me well now that it's when it comes to using a product, how most people use it. I don't really use things that way. I think it has like a place for it, especially from like a commuting standpoint. Like if I lived elsewhere in the world and I wanted that more immersive experience on the go, let's say I'm in the Philippines commuting on a bus or a train or something along those lines, or even Europe for that matter, then I think it could be utilized in that standpoint. But yeah, if you're
What
at
about,
home, you're going to want that big screen experience,
well, what about lying in bed at night before you go to sleep? Would you prefer to watch your YouTube videos or your Netflix? And I know I'm mentioning apps that don't exist on the Vision Pro in their native state right now. But would you want to watch your YouTube video or your Netflix movie or show on it in bed, or kind of like instead of your phone, which you kind of hold on, sort of like above you, and then instead of that, you sort of have that experience? Would that be something that would interest you?
For me personally, no. I wouldn't be interested in that. But I could see the appeal.
Yeah, then let's jump into Danish. Like, what are your thoughts on this?
For me, listen, I'm the outlier in this conversation. But it's done. I'm gonna get one. There's just no question about it. It's just a question of when. I don't care that it's first generation. I don't care that the apps aren't there on it yet. For me, everything it can do right now, it can be a giant screen for my Mac. Want it, 100%. I literally want to just like clear everything in front of me right now, the display, all this stuff, and just have this on and sit here and work. I don't work long stretches in any way, so the whole 2.5-hour thing doesn't really matter. But the entertainment aspect, I will say one thing that didn't strike me until I heard Nilay say the words, is that it's a very lonely experience. And that's where like a bit of a bell rang. And every time I decide to put those on, I'm talking about
isolating
being in a world.
yourself.
Yeah, I'm talking about isolating and being in a world by myself. That was I would say one of the first things where I was like, oh, like I did not think of how sort of lonely that experience is. And that was a very interesting point on his part.
So sort of like a very antisocial experience. Is that what you're trying to say? That you sort of...
Yeah.
Okay. But what about the whole eyes thing? Like, what do you think about that?
I expected Apple to do better. I will not lie about that. So like the minute he's like, oh yeah, it's a low-res screen and it's barely visible, I was like, what? No, that doesn't sound like Apple. But then if you match this to the fact that a few months ago there were rumors that they couldn't figure out the external display, but no one knew what the exact issue was. This seems like a correlation there, that maybe they couldn't figure out the high-res display they initially thought they would have. So yeah, again, not the biggest thing lost to me, because I don't think if Sam walks up to me and I'm wearing the Vision Pro, I don't think I'm going to be like, yeah, Sam, what were you saying? So let's continue this chat. Like, I'm just going to take it off for a second. Like, that's the natural response. So yin yang. Like I said, my perspective on the Vision Pro is it's first generation. I want it. I accept all the sacrifices.
Oh, and then I think the last thing that we kind of want to touch upon with the Vision Pro is the personas.
Yes.
We saw demos of people sort of using that on FaceTime calls, which obviously we can't do in the UAE. But I didn't think they were as bad as some of them were thinking they are, or at least looking at them on the video. Maybe when you're actually using Vision Pro, they're it's not as great. But I didn't think they were too bad. I think especially for a Gen 1 product. I'd take these over
Memojis.
what are those memojis? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Sorry. So I'd take these
So
over memojis any day.
that was my thought process as well, that I would take that forward any day of the week. I mean, just a bit ahead in this, on the part of the video where which is being shown right now, is a part where Marquez is interacting with Nile and Joanna Stern. And also, isn't it funny that you can never say Joanna, just Joanna? It's always Joanna Stern. Like, you always have to say her full name. Like, but yeah, I didn't see how bad this was, but I have a feeling something was being lost in the fact that this was a screen capture, because they couldn't all be reacting to it so badly and we think that it's not that bad. So I'm not sure, or they had some very high standard. I don't know. I couldn't figure it out.
Possible. Yeah. I mean, look, I mean, to me, they look okay. They look fine. I mean, acceptable for a Gen 1 product,
Yeah. Sam, what do you think?
It looks okay. I'm one of those. I want to grab it, use it, try it, test it, and form my own, opinion on it.
Yeah, I guess that's all we have to say about Vision Pro in this episode. Stay tuned for episode 4 for some more coverage on Apple Vision Pro.
Fine. Hint taken. We won't discuss Vision Pro until we get our hands on one.
I like
Okay,
it.
then. I think that's a good idea. Cool. Then let's move on to the next topic we have at hand, which is the MSI's Project Zero. Sam, tell us a little bit about this.
So MSI, along with some other manufacturers, have kind of brought out something new. I wouldn't say revolutionary, maybe evolutionary in the space of components, PC building, and all of that, which is it's actually kind of cool. It's something new. So on your motherboard, you would have, on the video here, it shows that you have all of these ports that you connect the power and other power and, different drives and all your pins and everything. They basically flipped it so that now those ports are basically on the back of the board, which gives you a much cleaner, aesthetically pleasing, look. One thing though to consider with that is the case. So the case needs to be able to, fit those power ports to plug it in and support it from the back. So it's kind of cool, something different. I don't know if it will bite brands, because it might be a case of like, oh, I love this board, but I don't like the case design because, like the case you have in the background, beautiful looking case. But if you're told, oh, it doesn't support it and you wanted that case, then what are you going to do? Are you going to say, okay, fine? So it's a tricky one.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it's just one of those things where everyone in the industry will probably move toward it as a standard. I think it's going to happen because, look, there's not a whole lot involved into this, right? As far as the case is concerned, the plate on which the motherboard rests needs to have a few openings where you can just pass these cables through. And honestly, like, the first time you and I looked at it, we were just wondering, why didn't anyone think of this earlier? Because there's nothing to it. It's not even, changing the positioning of these controllers or these ports. It's literally just putting them on the backside.
Flip it on the back.
It's phenomenal. Absolutely. And it results in such a clean setup that I don't see me going back or choosing something that is not this moving forward. So my next PC build, 100%, I'll have a motherboard and chassis that supports that. 100%.
Yeah, and I think, like you said, all the brands, all the manufacturers will jump on board, and it will become the standard per se. So you won't have that sort of issue. But I love it. Super clean. Maybe there'll be a little business in between if you want to mod your, fractal design case to fit a different board. We can get little templates and get the Dremel out and reminisce those like 2000.
Absolutely. No, absolutely.
What did you just say? What was that sentence? I didn't understand anything in that last sentence. I struggled through the rest, and then suddenly I was like, wait, is he speaking French? No, that sounds German. I didn't understand what the hell
I'm pretty sure reminisce is English.
No,
we used to mod
cases. Don't act smart. Right? You know what I meant after reminisce or before reminisce. I didn't understand anyway. As long as you both are happy.
All right, moving on to our next story. Samsung and RTA have partnered up to put the Nol card on Samsung's wallet app. RTA has announced that the Nol card will be disappearing, if I am correct. The physical card, I mean. It's going to go digital. It's going to go completely digital. And who wants to take this and talk us through with this?
I'll take it. So basically, there are two separate announcements. One is that Samsung and RTA announced this at GITEX last year, that they will be getting the Nol cards onto Samsung wallets. So that's one announcement. But just before this, a day before this was officially announced yesterday, a day before that, RTA also announced that they are slowly going away from physical Nol cards to an account-based system. So basically today, Abbas can have 5 Nol cards, it doesn't matter. And of course, in the future he can, but they will all be linked to an account. And that account will also at some point get linked with facial recognition as well as fingerprint, which will also be implemented at the metros. So you will not need to be like, oh, I forgot my Nol card, I can't take the metro. You'll just walk in and it'll recognize Abbas's face with his Nol account, and you just walk into the metro. And that's the future plan for the metro as well, because to them, Nol is not just a metro thing anymore. It's applicable at like 15,000 outlets, including the fact that you have to use it at like parks and stuff like that in the UAE. So basically, RTA just removing the physical aspect of it in the near future.
I think that's phenomenal, especially the part where you don't need to sort of queue up to go in and out of the gates. I mean, if it's just facial recognition and stuff, it's hopefully going to fasten the process up as well. You're going to be able to go through gates faster. So I think that's pretty cool. And interestingly, Samsung and Huawei, no mention of Apple on there as of yet.
Yeah, because well, Apple.
No, I mean, in the sense that Apple Wallet, right? I mean, we get all our credit cards, all our other cards in there. So it's interesting that they haven't sort of, you know.
But that being said, over the past few years, Apple Wallet has not been growing here. Actually, it infuriates me heavily that I love my iPhone, but more and more I find myself, when I'm using a Samsung, picking up the Samsung Wallet because it just has more on it. The IDs and stuff just came. What do you call it? Your car... What is the car thing
registration.
Driver's license?
Oh, thank God, registration. Yeah, the only word coming to mind was Mulkia. Anyway, your car registration cards, all that came very recently, and there's still a lot more that like the US has. Like, for example, in the US, whenever in my last 2 trips to New York, I've straight up got the subway pass on my phone, whereas you can't do that here still. So they've just been a little slow. I don't know why.
It's the same thing with in London, right? I mean, you can use your Emirates NBD card if you've got a debit card to sort of just tap into the subway station and just kind of tap, go and use stuff like that. So I don't know why it's not here. Hopefully it will. I'm sure they're working on it behind the scenes.
Sure. Yeah.
But yeah, it should be coming. All right. So we're going to skip the movies bit this time around and talk a little bit about cars. Now, there were a couple of new car launches in the UAE recently. Sam, do you kind of want to go through what we saw and, you know, what they are?
Yes. So a couple of Chinese brands. MG launched. Anyone guessing the title? The Whale. The Whale. MG Whale. Other than the name, it actually looks like a really impressive car. Myself and Danish went down for the launch. Really nice. Really nice. Reasonably, it starts at something like 88,000 dirhams for the comfort spec, and impressive 2-liter, 230 horsepower. Very, very cool car. Another car.
I was a little surprised by the Whale, actually, because initially, if you remember, we didn't know what that was, and it just popped up on the website a few days before this event, and we were like, oh, this looks horrible on the
photos
website.
It's not very nice, but in real life
it was really nice. I mean, the tires and the rims are a bit small, as you can see on the screen right now. But on the overall, the car was impressive. The whole Whale theme, I found it to be pretty creative at the end of the event, because I was like, okay, they didn't go gimmicky on it. The front look has that whale chin, the tail at the back, the colors on the inside, blue and white. I was genuinely impressed by the gimmick. Let's say it that way. I was impressed by the gimmick.
But this is the question. If no one had told you anything about any ocean or marine life, and you just saw the car, would you have immediately been drawn to that fact? Because for me, I don't feel it needed... It looks like a nice-looking car, that it didn't need that gimmick applied to it.
I see your point.
But I get where you're
I see your point. No, absolutely. I mean, if you didn't mention the whale, I wouldn't even associate it with the ocean or the whale or anything at all. It looks like a
Right.
really nice car from this video that's, that Sam that you're sort of showcasing it. Beautiful looking from the outside and inside. And
Yeah.
that just answered my first question, which is it's not an EV because you just popped the hood up. And so I don't need to ask you that question anymore. The second question I have for you is it's a mini SUV, right? I mean, that's what it looks like from the video. Is that what it is?
It's a
Yeah, it's a crossover.
5-seater SUV compact crossover. It's not big, it's not small, it's kind of in that mid-size SUV
Okay.
segment.
Now it looks stunning, and 88,000 dirhams. Are you sure you've gotten the pricing right? That's ridiculously low.
That's going off the MG website, Abbas. Yes, it's about
Wow.
88,000 dirhams, so cheap.
Oh wow. Oh wow.
Really,
No, it
really
looks
affordable.
beautiful. Looks beautiful.
Yeah.
Very, very
And
nice.
as we mentioned, we've got the website, so we've got all the updates with pricing and availability and warranty and all of that, which is cool. The other thing that actually launched this week that unfortunately we didn't get to check out was the Jetour T2. And that makes no mistake of trying to look like a Land Rover Defender from the exterior. Danesh has actually already seen it on the road.
Yeah.
I really want to check it out, especially for one feature most people skipped over, which is this Borg Warner four-wheel drive system. To know, because I mean, you can see in the advertising material, it's it's off-road and it can do 4x4ing and all of that. I'm very curious on that, but looks super interesting.
I mean, they've got this other car as well on the road, right? For the last year or two, which also looks really nice.
Dashing.
Okay.
That's an affordable what's it called,
Urus.
Why do I keep calling you weird names? I earlier said Salman for your name. Oh my God. Anyway. But yeah, Urus. It looks like the Urus.
Yeah. And Urus
Now it
mixed in
looks,
with the
it looks
Lexus
nice, yeah.
LX600. Very nice looking.
And these cars are also as affordable as the MG that you just saw earlier. Okay. No,
I
nice,
think
very
it's
nice. I
around
guess the
120?
122.
122. There you go.
Okay. So these Chinese manufacturers are coming in hard as far as pricing is concerned, Yeah. Look, I mean, they look really nice, but my question is, as far as the software and the user experience and all of that is concerned, do they compare to our traditional car manufacturers that, have had decades long of experience with that?
So I think it's kind of difficult because in a word, no, they don't sort of offer that. But then it becomes hard to defend your old school, brands that are more polished as such when it's not a little bit more. You're talking double or triple the price for something that's very
Absolutely.
similar. So it's a tricky
And
one.
look, do they support Android Auto or CarPlay? Is that supported by these cars? Because if it is, then great. I mean, your mapping, your entertainment is sorted anyways. You really don't need them to work on this then, if that works.
It's little subtleties. So you have Apple Maps and you have CarPlay on pretty much everything we've tested recently, but it's like your volume control, say on the steering wheel, and you might not even pick up or notice it, but in a more refined or established brand, it's a case of when you hold the volume down or the volume up, it'll progressively go up or
Continue
down.
to, yep.
Whereas some of the Chinese manufacturers, it's an individual tick, 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 tick. So
Gotcha.
do you care about that for like double the price tag? That's just like small examples.
Yeah, and the thing
And they're exercising my thumb as well.
And it's also one of those things of a lot of unnecessary features. So like, and this is a much larger topic, so we can discuss it one day. But if you check out our MG RX-8 video, Sam and me was struggling to understand why at 3 out of, what was it, Sam, 30, 40? Out of 3 out of 30 or 40, the volume was blaring in the car. We were like, why? And then we noticed it had all these weird features all over the settings. So like, on one side of the settings was volume boost. On the other side of the setting was, when the volume goes up or down based on speed, that was there. So those were just amplifying the volume as much as possible. When we switched off all of that, no problem. Decent sound at 3 out of whatever, 30. So small things like that. It's the nitty-gritty stuff. On the overall, as a car, these cars do their job for the price that they have.
Yeah, fair enough. Cool. All right. So then moving on to our last segment, which is gaming. And joining us is Murphy from our team. He's going to talk about Suicide Squad and Persona 3. So tell us, what should we be playing or looking at from a gaming side this week?
So first game that came out, or both of them are going to come out this week, are Persona 3 Reload. This is a remake of the 2006 PlayStation 2 game, but it has been it has been updated with modern graphics, some quality of life improvements, and the combat has been revamped to match it close to Persona 5 than what it was before. And yeah, and the reviews are very good for it, like 9s, 10s from it everywhere. So if you're a Persona fan, that game should be on your list to play.
And is this PlayStation 5 exclusive?
No, it's out on PC, PS5, Xbox.
Nice. Very, very cool.
Yeah.
Excellent. And the second game you have for us today?
So second game, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Now, there's a lot of drama around this game because when Warner Brothers reviewed the game, nobody liked it. Literally, no one liked the game. So they thought that, hey, let's not give out review codes ahead of time. They just gave the codes. So the game launched for early access, which you can download and play. It costs $100 if you want. So they just gave out the codes. So there aren't a lot of impressions about the full game, but some reports that I've seen that the game is not that good. It's soulless, but it is at least funny and looks great. So it has that going for itself. I mean, if you're interested in playing this game, I would wait at least 2 weeks after the game is launched on February 2nd to see if the game is worth it. Wait for patches to come out because it seems a little rough around the edges, and you might want to wait for some patches to come out to make it play nice at least.
You mentioned it's in early access and it's releasing February 2nd, which is just literally 3 or 4 days, right? So
Yeah.
why even bother with early access if it's just a week before? Why not just wait until the game releases? And why go through the hassle of reviews and stuff for the early access? Why
Yeah.
not just not give reviews and just release that?
I mean, the early access comes with the deluxe version of the game. So the deluxe version has in-game cosmetics, items, and stuff. So you pay like a bit more and you get early access to the game.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Fair enough. I guess we'll wait for a couple of weeks and come back to
Yeah.
you and see how this game actually is.
Yeah,
Amazing stuff. Well, I guess that's all we have for you guys this week. Let us know if you enjoyed this episode. It's going to go on YouTube, so comment us out as well if there's anything interesting that you like or something you'd like for us to sort of, do things differently. And with that, we'll see you guys next week. Take care.
Bye.
Right.